Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner, and you're listening to the best bits of 2016.
The best of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I'm gonna go straight with the personal stuff. I had quite a big row this week with my partner.
What happened?
Is that news? Well, is that a regular feature?
Well,
It was what's called a Tuesday.
Okay.
if it was a graph of our rows, it would be like quite a high
Gosh.
Oh, what happened?
What happened was I wanted to watch the cricket highlights
Okay.
after we'd watched something else together. So quite late at night.
Okay.
Gareth, I'm not sure I like something else together.
No,
It
I
sounds a
know.
bit specialist interest.
I got nervous when he said afterwards.
No, I pray. It was a day when England had done, it was tremendous. They took many, many wickets, and South Africa were out for...
So did
very
you want
few
to
runs.
watch it on catch-up or the sports highlights?
No, the highlights. So an hour of in a separate room on my own.
Oh,
Okay.
that sounds fun.
Now you're obviously only getting my side of the story,
Yes.
but this is how I see it, certainly. So there was a bit of we had a terrible row. I mean, like a terrible row, and to the point where the next day, which was the Sunday, I thought I need some sort of a physical peace symbol.
Oh.
So. The flowers.
Oh, no, not that.
What do you go for? I actually got quite a large woman to release doves outside the house, like when Michael Jackson was found innocent. Do you remember that? They released a dove
I
for
love that
every
woman.
charge that he wasn't charged
Oh,
with.
gosh.
I'm doing it for the Hatton Garden people. When
I don't think a dove is it. Maybe an old grey pigeon.
Yeah, old scruffy old pigeon, me old son.
A smoking pigeon.
So, is that what they found in Iraq?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I decided to go for a sun. Now, flowers is clearly that's route one.
Yeah.
But I'm never sure about flowers. I don't want to take a symbol of, something that was once vibrant and alive that will then, brown, dry out and decay over a short period of time. Seems
Yes.
like the wrong sort of imagery.
And
So I-
stolen, essentially, from God's earth.
Yes, exactly. So I went for something a bit more, I suppose, a bit more modern. I got her to cut a long story short, I got her a scratch card.
Please say you didn't.
No, I did. I thought that was a nice thing to do, because it suggested, that there's always...
What is she, a nana on Coronation Street?
It's funny
A
you should
young,
say that.
beautiful woman.
It's funny you should say that. She's just got a job as a nana on Hollyhocks. No, she's...
To sort of give her a way out of the relationship.
Well, this is how it went. This is exactly how it went. I said, I've got you a scratch card. She said, why? And I said, well, I said, to be absolutely honest, because I just wanted something nice, to after last night. And she said, all right, so you're hoping I'll win the money and then I'll be able to afford to move out.
And you said...
And I said, I hadn't even thought of that. How much would you need? What are we talking? No, I hadn't thought that for a second.
Oh.
And that shows how wrong. So if anyone's listening...
You meant a scratch card in the most romantic way.
I've got to be honest, Frank.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about the scratch card. I mean, it doesn't scream romance. It screams Kerry Katona's significant other. I don't really want a scratch card.
Well, it's not
I don't
the
really
scratch
need one,
card.
to be honest.
I think it's saying that things may look shabby and a bit worn at the corners, but they may contain solid gold.
Oh, well, that's nice.
There you go. So, anyway, didn't go that well. She didn't win either.
A card would have been better, I think. Just a card.
It was a card.
I guess.
Yeah. It just that it was a bit more interactive, as is the modern way.
Did you wrap the scratchy?
No, I didn't wrap it. I thought that would be what I might call highfalutin. So no, I just handed it over raw, as it were. If she'd won, that would have been a different story, wouldn't it? Would have been delighted. Would have used that anecdote forever. How one can go from dark to light in a twinkling. But if anyone listening has tried to patch up a relationship and it's gone wrong like that, I don't want some terrible story of some awful drawn-out divorce, if that's what you're thinking of sending in. Come on, it's Saturday morning. This is breakfast, supposed to be light-hearted.
The best of Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Whilst we were at the Brits, did you meet anybody from the organisation side of the Brits? Was there any awkward moment where they went, Frank, you're back?
I think they've all passed on various ways since I was. It's been a long time since I did it. It just sounds recent because I don't stop talking about it.
You said that with a confidence as if it had been a long-term project of yours. Yeah, they've all passed on.
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah.
It's funny going back to the crime scene, though.
Isn't
I
it?
know, it did feel like that. But I had a lovely night. Apart from the lamb, I thought was a little undercooked. But everything else was splendid. Although I was reminded...
You're the only person who cared about the food.
Hope the caterers aren't listening.
I don't know, the pudding was called Traditional British Sweet Shop Eton Mess.
Right.
And it was a trifle in a glass with a couple of meringue. I think that's the plural, is it? But then do you have the S for the plural of meringue? And then pick a mix.
I don't know that band. I thought I know Little Mix.
Yes, well, this is their spin-off. It's like Junior S Club, S Club Juniors, whatever they were called. Can you check that, Paul? S Club Juniors, thank you. S Club Juniors. And he's very quick, you know.
Yeah.
Oh God. So what was I talking about? Yeah, that was a weird. It had like what, you know those flying saucers with sherbet inside. It had that in like with cream on it and stuff.
No.
I mean, come on, people.
That's two things in a bowl. It's not a pudding. Like, just do an eat and mess well.
Who was the chef there?
I know he didn't come over.
I hope he's not listening. Frank's already said he thought his lamb was underdone.
Yeah, we could be
It was
late.
I don't like lamb that bleeds.
Right.
Okay.
Medium well.
You can quote me on that.
Yeah. So tell me about Bieber, because you were about
Before we get to Bieber, can I say, one thing I realised is maybe it might be my last ever time at the Brits. Not because I've had any bad news from my medical people, but because I think I really felt that I've got a little older. Because this is absolutely true. I did the red carpet thing.
Oh, yeah.
And slightly ahead of me, there was a woman who I didn't recognise, but very statuesque, beautiful woman in almost no clothing, very like a sort of, I'd call it salmon pink thing she was wearing.
There's a real food theme running through this.
Yeah, there is.
Lamb,
but
salmon.
very short skirt and not much. And I remember...
Wearing knout.
So I looked at this woman.
Sounds great.
As I've looked at these women for many years from afar. But what I used to think, well, never mind what I used to think. What I thought on Wednesday was, she must be freezing.
Yeah.
Now that's a bad sign, isn't it?
Yes.
Tis Feb.
Yeah. Then there was that woman with the, you know, the woman everyone was talking about,
Who's that?
who interrupted Anton Deck.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, yes.
I don't know the story.
She had a completely see-through, she was everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
She had a completely see-through body stocking on, and then she had covered her lower areas with what looked like 8 inches of duct tape.
Really?
Honestly.
Well, I think that's been generous on the measurements front.
Well, maybe 6
That's
inches.
exactly what I've got on under my clothes today.
Yes. Well, I would imagine how I
She had
felt.
gaffer
Body
tape
stocking and duct
on
tape.
her,
No, well,
her extremities.
I was embarrassed because I was just wearing a chiffon scarf and a verruca plaster. So it was the same dress nightmare.
Absolute Radio.
The best of Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
Now, there was another incident at the Oscars, which was to do with Jenny Bevan, the costume designer. Did you see this?
Yes.
Oh, yes, Jenny Bevan.
She is the one that Stephen Fry recently called a bag lady, didn't he?
And she was said to have received a rather muted response when she went up to collect her Best Costume Designer award, because she didn't go frog. She went leather jacket and trousers and a scarf.
And she's defended herself on that, hasn't she, by saying that she'd look silly in an expensive frock.
Oh, can I say I love Jenny Bevan?
Didn't bother Ant.
Did Ant have an expensive frock on?
Yes, he did. He had a ball gown.
Did he?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Check your billboard.
Why do you keep saying he had a ball gown?
He had a ball gown on.
Who, Ant?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. In the Brits. and wore a ball gown. Did you not? What's that? Am I the only person this has happened to? Of course I was there, dear.
Are you sure that wasn't something Father John Misty put in your drink?
No. They just did a tribute to David Bowie, a very moving tribute. And when he came back to Ant and Dec, Ant had got a ball gown on.
Are you sure?
Well, look, Sarah, our assistant producer, Daisy, our
Olive
producer.
Daisy says it. She loves the EastEnders and the Brits. It's her favourite shows, Frank.
I'll tell you what's brilliant. I was watching on television this week. Can I just say?
What?
It'll
be Channel 5, Al.
I'd really recommend this. Broadchurch.
Yeah?
Oh, my God, talk about late review, Frank.
Absolutely top notch.
Are you serious?
Start watching
I'm totally serious.
First series or the second?
I haven't got to the second yet. I've done
wouldn't
no
bother.
spoilers if you want. I've done all
No
8 episodes.
spoilers. How can you avoid spoilers? Gone with the wind. No spoilers.
I completely avoid.
Nosferatu. No spoilers.
I completely avoid. I didn't know. Me and Kath watched all 8 episodes this week. Absolutely brilliant. You heard it here last.
There's been another series since then.
I know, but we'll get. Takes time these things. But honestly, I'd recommend it.
I've seen it!
Oh, what else do you recommend? Usual Suspects.
Well, the ending's all right. The rest of it. Anyway, what else? What's in the newspapers? What about that? Not the snooze papers, maimed.
We should talk about this Party Next Door chap.
Yeah, we should.
That Kyle Jenner, whose work I'm not
Kylie
actually...
Jenner.
Is it Kylie?
Yeah, Kyle's the mother.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really that up on these
Kyle
things.
is the mother.
Yeah.
Family's quite hard to follow the history.
Kyle's the mother.
Did
Kylie's the...
Which one used to be a...
Oh, Kris Jenner. She just corrected me. Do you know that's the only time Sarah on the show has felt compelled to actually interject publicly. And she went, Kris Jenner, with a note of panic.
Now,
She's right.
How can I put this? Did Kris Jenner used to be a gentleman?
No.
Okay.
That's Bruce Jenner. Well, it's Caitlyn.
I know it used to be Bruce Jenner.
It's Caitlyn Jenner now.
I remember Bruce Jenner when he was...
Okay, here it is. Caitlyn Jenner. Oh, I can't even...
Where does Caitlyn Jenner's... What?
I'm not answering that question.
No.
Leave it, Frank.
No, okay. I was told it was in a safety deposit
Leave
box.
it.
Let's just say they know what to do with a spare shoe. Put it that way.
Anyway, what is his... What happened then?
For comic effect, I made
it would have served you right if yours had fallen off. What is Kylie Jenner's relationship to...
She's the daughter of Kris Jenner.
Kris Jenner is...
Is that correct, Sarah?
And Kris Jenner used to be a gentleman.
No!
Well, what is the relation?
Jenner
What's
is
the name of the one?
woman.
What's
She's
the name
mother.
of the one who used to be a gentleman?
Caitlyn.
Caitlyn. So what is Caitlyn's relationship to
That's the
Kylie?
father.
Okay.
Okay, have we got this?
Right. So Kylie Jenner is young. She's a young.
She's the one with the
girl.
big lips.
Right. 18 years old she is, and she's got a new boy.
Oh, that's a bit Daily Mail reporter.
She's got a new boy. That's the story, isn't it?
Well,
she's got a new boy.
She used to date Tiger, and now she's going out with Party Next Door. Because Tiger dumped her, so she's going out with Party Next Door.
Not Tiger of the golf links.
No.
He's gone quiet.
He has gone quiet. That is the talk of the town.
I heard, and I'm not one to gossip, that he was something of a ladies' man.
I
heard that. I heard he putted about.
Yes,
well,
he definitely was.
I did a pun and no one picked up on it. He picked up on it.
That is good.
I didn't pronounce it properly.
Good.
That's good. Thank God you didn't do a wood joke.
The best of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
033 has texted, I'd always fancied drinking in Cheers, then 3 years ago I went to Boston and loved it, #late review.
Oh yeah, well I went to that the
bar?
Cheers bar, yeah. When you get inside though, it doesn't really look like Cheers. It's at the outside.
I'll be honest, I always think that the bar in Cheers doesn't look that comfy. It's high stools and wooden chairs. And the bit that I always wanted to spend time in was Ted Danson's office, which had a nice big comfy chair and like stuff to play with. Like he had a baseball mitt and a ball and stuff like that. I'd much rather be back there.
I went on a celebrity parade through Inverness. through Inverness with Ted Danson.
Sorry.
One of your
I just need another couple of minutes to laugh at that. Celebrity.
Well, we turned up in Inverness for the premiere of Loch Ness.
Yeah.
Do you remember Loch Ness?
Yeah.
No, but thanks for the tip.
It was him and Jodie...
Kidd?
No, the one from... she's a Vanessa Redgrave person.
Oh, yeah.
Richardson, is it? Jodie Richardson.
Yeah,
maybe.
Jodie Richardson, yeah.
And Ted Danson, when we got there, we were introduced to the mayor of Inverness, and he said the celebrity parade will begin. And we went, what? So we were literally marched through. There was people lining the streets applauding and cheering. There was Ted Danson and Jolie at the front. There was me, David Baddiel. Annika Rice was there.
What was Dave Baddiel wearing for a celebrity parade? That old Aztec camera suede jacket.
We weren't dressed up because no one had told us about the celebrity. Nicky Clark and his wife was in it.
So your hair looked fine for everyone.
Yeah,
Koo
but
Stark. Koo
Stark was there.
Can I be honest? If I'd positioned myself for the celebrity parade and Ted Danson was in there on the top of that bus, and
It wasn't a bus. We were walking. Yeah, we just walked through the town.
You didn't even get it.
It was like the plague years.
It's like Joan of Arc.
I know, we would walk through the town, and to be honest, if you did it in London, can you imagine the abuse and that you'd get?
Yeah.
And in fact, we got like warm applause, and they seemed genuinely happy to see us in Inverness.
But you walked.
We had to walk through.
Yeah, but can you
looking
imagine
like?
if they're trying to get an autograph and you were going Ted, and then you got Nicky Clark's wife? I mean,
no.
no offence.
Well, I
But
remember
on the celebrity scale.
a guy climbed halfway up a lamppost, a guy with a shaven head, and he went, "Hey, Nicky, can you do anything with this?" And he got quite a big laugh. And afterwards we were back, and I think, to be fair, I don't wish to air people's dirty linen in public, but I think Nicky and his wife were going through a difficult patch.
Oh.
And someone said, "Oh, that was really funny, Nicky, when that guy shouted, can you do anything with this?" And he went, "Ah, yes." And she said, "Yeah, and what did you say?" "Nothing." It's a really awkward moment.
The best of Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
I never told you about my trip. Talking of travel, although I didn't get up to any of that,
No.
slam door behaviour,
No.
I went over to the south of France last week. Yeah,
Absolutely marvellous.
I was invited by Louis Vuitton.
Did you,
Keep going.
Yeah. So when you go over on a trip with Louis Vuitton,
Yes.
they have to ensure... It's quite loud, Frank.
It's getting too loud.
Quite loud. They have to ensure that you... Oh, bonjour! They have to ensure that you have a bag with you.
Was it Eurostar or Flight? What was the,
Flight.
What was the MO? Oh, right.
What was the airline?
MO, modus
Modus
operandi.
operandi. Yeah, we flew over there.
Well, in those, you're definitely allowed to flush in the station in an airplane.
Do you know that took me right back, that music, Frank?
Yeah.
Because I went to the region where the perfumes are made, which you'll be familiar with.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's called Grasse.
grass.
Yes?
It's called grass.
Yes. Don't say it like that, Grasse.
That's how I say it.
It's
Grass.
probably called Grand.
Don't say it in a sort of Beavis and Butthead way. It's a beautiful area.
Grass. That's how I say it. That's just how I
There
say
was
it.
a lovely... The fragrance is being launched later this year, so I'm afraid I can't say much about it, but I did meet the nose. Louis Vuitton have a nose.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly respected position.
Yeah.
Oh, we've seen some sights, that nose. What a man. Do you know there are fewer noses in the world than there are astronauts?
Is
That is a
right?
good
Yes.
fact.
We should explain what a nose
Yes.
is.
Oh, yeah.
So the
Some people will be
nose-
thinking, God knows, won't they?
Ian Angle.
They're known as a god nose, probably, 'cause they're so
Yeah.
rare.
Well, would you like to tell me what you think it is?
I think that some people... let me put it this way. Many years ago, I watched a documentary with
Get you.
Jacques Clouseau.
Oh, yeah. I like the Inspector
No,
Clouseau
Cousteau.
stuff.
Cousteau.
Oh, Jacques Cousteau,
Jacques
yeah.
Cousteau, yeah, who used to be the underwater man. And he met a guy who was able to swim down for various rare shellfish and oysters and things, and he didn't get the bends. He had some weird physical thing. And I always thought, God, how would you ever find that out? I might have that, and I'll never know. Meanwhile, in the perfume industry, there are certain people whose sense of smell is so perfect.
That's what it is.
That they can detect all sorts of slight little... They can you can give them a sauce, they tell you what the ingredients were.
Yes.
I once saw Freddie Fox do it on Peppa Pig with a fruit smoothie. But that was that's a different story. And so if these people are identified as noses, as they call them, then they can command... This is the only time people ever do this. They can command massive wages.
This is true. Well, you say wages like he's, a West Brom footballer back in the 50s. Don't get a pay packet. I mean, but it is. I mean, they're exactly right, Frank. You summed it up beautifully.
Whatever he gets, it's not to be sniffed at.
Very good.
The best of Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
The thing about the nose, Al, is that you really want to smell nice for him. Can you imagine the pressure?
Imagine if you meet the nose and you'd had to rush out of the hotel without a full bath that day.
You don't want to meet the nose when you've had a prison wash. Come on.
And maybe ran for the bus as well to get to Louis Vuitton HQ.
Yeah, because I was really doing that, wasn't I?
I met him.
What bus route's it on? 257?
He lives in this fabulous Gothic mansion in Paris called Nostril Dame.
Oh, lovely. I wish you'd been there, Frank. You two would have gone like a house on fire.
Oh, I don't know. I think
he would say
turn his nose up at me. Yeah.
Oh.
I smell pepperami.
No, he would have said, where are you from, Birmingham?
He probably would have.
He would have.
Wow.
He'd have been wrong. From West Bromwich.
I doused...
Someone that would have ruined him.
I doused myself.
Did you?
And I wanted him to smell, and I said, what do you think? And it was like that moment on X Factor when they're waiting to decide whether they're going home or not. He went, okay. I mean, you don't want to get an okay.
Yeah, it's better than a bit basic, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
A bit basic.
Imagine if he'd have sounded like Joey Essex.
He must have to live a very...
abstinent?
Careful life.
Yeah.
Well, you would have thought. That's another story.
No, but I mean, he's got to watch where he's sticking his nose, you know what I mean?
Mind his own business, yeah?
No, but...
right, no.
He don't want to go into anywhere with a very... He doesn't want to go anywhere with a very strong...
I don't think he's in the neighbourhood watch scheme or something.
But I mean, he couldn't. He could never smoke or use snuff or attend a public man's toilet.
Well, I think he probably could.
Could he? Not in France.
I don't think we want to be going on those trains.
Not in France.
No, he might have a walk down the railway track.
Yeah, he wouldn't be good in Norwich.
If he was a track worker, if he got a job as a track worker, his life would be a nightmare.
I don't know if he's one of the, as we call them now, the slam shut brigade.
No.
But he was lovely, the nose. I mean, there is something of the llama about the man.
Is there?
Yes, because he's sort of something magical and mystical about him. I wish I could say more about the fragrance, but I can't, I'm afraid. However, I did have a wonderful time, and I embarrassed myself with my French speaking. But don't you get that thing when you're over there that you think, when you say anything in French, I think the French people are thinking, she's amazing, that woman. She can speak French, which I can't. Just want to go, bonjour.
No.
I don't think they are thinking.
I don't get that at all.
Oh, aren't they? I thought they were.
I mainly focus on oui and non and merci, and that's it.
What about when I rung for room service? You know I need an eye, and it's the first thing I need, Frank. And it's I forgot momentarily the name of it, which is unlike me, because I have a list of the 12 languages I'll need it for.
What's French for iron?
Yes, well, I'd forgotten, and I do know that, and I'd confused it. And I rung down and I said, vous avez un embrassé. And it's actually repassé. Embrassé is a kiss and a cuddle.
Oh, excellent.
She went, oh! I was so embarrassed.
She might have
and
just thought you were lonely.
They were pointing at me in the hotel. Lonely? How can you be lonely with the nose?
No, but you phone down to reception and ask for a kiss and a cuddle. Whenever I've done that, there's been a knock at the door 15 minutes later.
Sleazy businessman.
Exactly.
That's why that woman in Marseille gave me an iron. It's all making sense.
Absolute Radio.
The best of Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
956 has just texted tuna and cheese with pickles, onion and tomato with light mayo.
Okay, give us 10 minutes.
I'm not sure that text is for us.
No, it is. We're expected to do that as part of our remit now.
You don't think it's a test for the nose, do you? Like we should just waft it under him and say, can you do that? Or blindfold him.
Oh, so there was a rather cute story this week. It's the little and finally Cyril from That's Life Google It section.
Oh, yes.
A grandma from Wigan, I believe her name was May Ashworth. You don't get many Mays these days, do you?
Yes.
Anyway, her grandson Ben had come over to do his washing. I appreciate that's not the best story you've ever heard. However,
It gets
he
better.
looked at her computer.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nosy.
Cheek.
He wants to keep his nose out.
Yeah. the nose.
He saw that she'd been Googling. You're safe with a grandma to look at the searches, to search the history, aren't
I
you?
think it's a bit, I don't know. How would he feel if his grandma had gone round his house and had a look at his Google
He
search?
probably clears
Well,
his
I don't
history,
know.
I should think.
Well, his boyfriend was at home, he said.
Oh, yeah.
He said he'd looked in the search bar and he'd seen that she'd said, please translate these Roman numerals. MCM XCV 111, thank you. So he obviously thought this was rather adorable and tweeted
Oh,
it.
and she's so old that that's her password.
Yeah, I think she was trying to work out a text from an old friend. Just a weird number on her phone. Who is this?
It's when
Oh,
they'd
dear.
asked her for a date of birth in one of the... Yeah, so she essentially, she was trying to work out when a show was made from the credits. You know when it comes up at the end on the BBC shows and things, and they still apparently use that.
They do. I
That
find that
form.
weird.
Why do they do that?
Yeah, I mean, that'll happen to the programmes you do, like Room 101, they'll have Roman numerals at the end. You think,
Someone has
digital
sat,
era.
Someone has sat in an edit suite and said, oh, we better put the date of the show on now. What do you think, Roman numerals? And then everyone's going, oh, that's a good idea. And what about the director's name? Hieroglyphs? That's absolutely ludicrous. I mean, at least she's accidentally, she's highlighted a practice which should be stopped.
Why do they do that? Production company, cave paintings?
I'd like to think it's sort of insider Roman Catholics at the BBC.
So this rather cute granny, May Ashworth,
It's funny you say that, because I did. This says a lot about where I am in my life. I did see the picture of Granny May Ashworth and thought, she's all right. I honestly did. I thought
Frank, she's 86.
She's an attractive woman.
Yeah, but she's 86.
I
Come
don't
on.
care.
Okay.
I think you'll find she's V111. No, I don't know how to do 86.
So at your time of life, an attractive 86-year-old's like a yummy mummy, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, yummy grandmummy.
Yummy grand. All right.
She, anyway, the reason that she Google searched that was that she apparently, her grandson says, she's under the illusion that there's a guy sitting there at Google headquarters who deals with all the inquiries personally every time they come in.
Yeah, am I wrong in saying that when Ask Jeeves began, do you remember Ask Jeeves?
I do remember
The
Ask
search
Jeeves.
engine. Did you not used to, was it, I think I used to type in a question. So it would say, from which end do you peel a banana?
Right.
I would actually ask that question.
Yeah, I often put questions in.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's not that crazy. She just added a bit of politeness.
And why not?
Do you ever use, I don't know, feeling lucky?
Feeling
I
lucky.
hate feeling lucky.
Do you? That's an interesting sentence.
Well, I just don't like it. I think it's weird. I don't want some weird game. Oh, feeling lucky. It's a bit like
Yeah.
some creepy man. I'm
I
there
was
for
looking-
business reasons, usually.
I was Googling yesterday. I was Googling Archbishop Pole, the last Roman Catholic Archbishop of Canterbury.
Me too.
I
What
don't
are the
want-
chances?
I don't want
honestly?
that transformed into a game of chance by Google. I just
lucky.
want to know. I'm feeling lucky.
Yeah.
Just tell me about him. It's not Archbishop Pole roulette.
Why are you turning it into some fairground game?
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
I know.
I don't like, Frank. I don't like... So I've got a biscuit in my mouth. I couldn't help it. I'm
all
feeling lucky. I don't like... Some results may have been removed under data protection law in Europe.
Oh,
Which I
don't
had when
mind
I
that.
Google my name. Yes, it happened once.
Come on, Emily. That's what happens when you Google your
Oh,
name.
why?
A YouTube clip of a woman deadlifting.
That's true. What is that, Frank?
Also, I'll tell you something I gets on my nerves about Google search. If you search Google images,
Yes.
I'm looking for pictures of the person
not right
or
there.
whatever that I've put in. You know, you look up-
Attractive grannies, that's what he's looking at.
No, but well, maybe so.
And some 86-year-old
Women
women.
called May who've still got it is what you search
Okay.
every night.
Okay, but let's take that as an example.
Maybe an Irene gets in
Let's
there.
take that.
take
If I typed into Google Images search women called May who've still got it, I was likely to get a picture of Gnarls Barkley. People come up and you think, well, why are they on this search? Absolutely no relation whatsoever.
The best of Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
In the news this week, Paul Hollywood has said, I don't know if this is a joke, I think he might be just teasing the press. He said that his son made a quiche in his food tech class and got a low mark for it, and Paul Hollywood, as his dad, sent an angry note saying, "How dare you give my son such a low mark? His quiche was worth at least a 9 out of 10.
I suppose he would know. Surely he can. Can I ask a question here, a technical question? For me, I remember the rise of the quiche
Do you?
into
That sounds more like
into
a
the
souffle.
the British consciousness, and it was always called quiche Lorraine.
That's a specific sort of
Is
quiche.
it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it has.
Okay.
Cheese and ham.
It's got ham or bacony bits on it, isn't
Right.
it? Yes.
And everyone said, "Oh, I had one of those quiche Lorraines," and that, so what happened is that quiche is broadened out in this.
Yeah, now it's
I
gone all
suppose Lorraine
spinach and
arrived
ricotta
first.
and-
You know, when people send over the breadwinner and they get some money, get a place to live, and then
Exactly.
the rest of the family arrive. I suppose
Exactly.
Lorraine was the.
Yeah.
Pioneer of
Yeah.
the.
Well, not so much a
Egg-based
pie, sort of
pie.
more of a flanineer. But yeah, so they're not all quiche Lorraines.
Not all quiches are Lorraines.
And do they all have girls' names?
No.
I don't think so anymore. I think,
That's a pity.
in fact, I
they
think
might be like Storms or something.
sadly, I think they've gone a bit more literal now. So, like, you could get cheese and onion quiche.
So there must quiche Lorraine. If as you say that's a type, there must be other. You must be able to get a quiche.
It would be nice if
A quiche Mahal.
quiche,
Little.
quiche Susan.
Yes,
Yeah,
quiche Barney and Bendy.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
on the quiche breakfast show.
Yeah, that would have egg and sausage in there because
Yes.
it's a breakfast show, or maybe bits of toast. I don't know.
I'm never sure about quiche. I think I like it. Then I get halfway through and I go, don't like it. Don't like it.
I don't know if I've really ever found my quiche.
Paul Hollywood
I
also
like it.
says.
I like it.
Paul Hollywood also says of Josh, his son, who's 14. He says Josh knows how to make a loaf of bread, which is much more complicated than whipping up a Victoria sponge.
But we're talking about quiche.
Yeah,
Why
no,
even-
he's got
why
confused there. He's
Why
confused
even
his
bring
baking
up
products.
Victoria
I don't like any bit of that sentence. I don't like the sound of Josh. I don't like the sound of the loaf of bread.
I don't
I don't know.
Josh, you can't say that about him.
Why
And a
not?
loaf of bread,
He's
no, you
14 and he can make a loaf of bread.
You just
What's wrong
bring
with
the
him?
ingredients into one of those machines that you buy and then never
Exactly.
use.
My kids can
Yeah.
eat a loaf of bread, but they can't make a loaf
It's
of bread.
great that he made a loaf of
Is
bread.
it?
Oh, so when the kid nicks a loaf of bread in Les Miserables, you think he's a hero. You
Yes.
make a loaf of bread, you think he's a scoundrel.
Yes,
What's
exactly.
happened? What broken Britain? I think I made a loaf of bread once, and it was a tremendous success.
In the oven
Good
or
story,
with the
bro.
machine?
No, in the oven.
Oh, okay.
I made. I'm on the same day. This is my only ever baking day. On the same day, apart from one terrible Jamie Oliver experiment, I made a fabulous lemon meringue pie.
Oh, now that is my favourite.
And
That's my
it
proper
was-
favourite.
It looked like if Phil Oakey had had an afro after his hair had gone white. I mean, on top of it, it was this fluffy white. Beautiful.
And that's your history of baking. Just
When you get
two
it that,
goes at it.
when
and
you get it that good first time, you think, I'll leave it alone now, because anything else is only going to spoil the dream.
Like your meringues, you had peaked.
But I think it's... yes, exactly. Exactly. Don't get meringue as well, was what Chrissy Hines said to me as I was leaving the house. Don't get meringue.
This is the best of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Well, last night I went to... something
I
I
wish we'd never asked.
rarely do. I went on a stag night.
You did not.
Legend! Thank you. I left a gap. I left the legend. What I call the legend gap, having announced that. And thank God Alan filled it.
Thank you.
So,
He can always be relied upon to fill the legend gap.
yeah, so I went on, my God, I've been filling the legend gap for years, dear. So, I went there, and,
Well, tell us more. Who's,
well, you know,
you're
I
allowed to
can't-
say whose it was.
No, I don't want to say whose it was, but it was
celebrity.
It was a friend of mine. That narrows
Nick
it down
Knowles.
considerably.
I'm going Knowles.
Jeff Brazier. No, I know it wasn't.
Toby Anstis.
No,
Okay.
Paul Coyer. No, I'm sorry if you know that is, you'll laugh. If you don't, trust me. So anyway, it was a sort of, it started as a dinner, you know, at a table, like, you know.
Ow, I don't like the sound of it started as. This sounds like things got a little bit out of control and wild.
So, I arrived, I'd just done a 12-hour day at the office, dear.
Wow.
And I arrived and there was, you know, nice people there. Anyway, I don't think we'd been there half an hour before quite a buxom blonde lady in a police uniform arrived. When I say uniform, it was a slapdash version.
Oh, an approximation.
Could you still see the markings of where it had been folded in the plastic?
Well, I didn't want to look. It was a PVC thing.
Oh.
And I mean,
Was it?
I never for a second thought she was an actual member of the constabulary.
Right.
No.
How old was this person getting married? Were they born in the 40s or something? Having a strippogram?
I'd forgotten that I'd honestly forgotten they existed. It was the weirdest thing. So
what happened?
well, I'll tell you what was weird about it is that I see if Nick Berry had turned up, it wouldn't have seemed more out of place. Sort of, but the odd thing was I was absolutely overcome. Wait for it. Overcome with the sense of I don't want this woman to take her clothes off.
Yeah.
Oh,
really
that would be really impolite if you redressed her, though. I'm pretty sure.
No, yeah, she realised it was like the Forth Bridge. I was at the other end of her putting them back on again.
Yeah, that
But
wouldn't
no,
be good for her
it was
ego.
it was quite a moment for me in my life, because, you know, I've always been a tremendously decent chap, but obviously one has
bar one area.
but one has the animal within.
Yeah.
It seems like the animal within has either died or left the building.
Joined a decent chap.
Oh, this is a great day for us.
But more,
I think that happened some time ago for you, Frank.
No, but I haven't seen a strip. The last time I saw a stripogram, I remember shouting, "This is Thatcher's Britain," and someone said I took the edge off it for them.
Yeah.
But the fact that I shouted that dates it.
The last time I saw a stripogram was in a pub. I think I was at university, and all I heard was these lads shout, "Handsome," and I don't like that.
No, I just. Well, I'll tell you how it progressed.
Do we want to know this? Do we have a choice?
Let's put it this way: she arrived and said, "Not very private here, is it?" I mean, we hadn't been introduced. So brash. She was really brash personality.
Frank, she wasn't booked for a personality.
Good call.
I don't know that. Maybe they're personality based stripograms.
Yeah.
Who just come and are rattling good fun.
Oh, I'd like to do that.
Oh, well, anyway, I'll progress with this.
The best of Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We're going over to Frank Skinner in 1978, where there's a stripogram in a police outfit has
Meanwhile,
arrived
back at
in
the
a pub.
stripogram.
I honestly didn't know they existed anymore.
Can I just say, was this a public restaurant? Is that what it was?
Well, it was a sort of an alcove.
Oh, okay.
Of
So it's
a
not like there
public
were other
restaurant.
diners that
Well,
were
there
going...
were other diners.
I
Get
would
off
have
my table,
objected.
please, madam.
I would have
They were
objected.
close enough to make it even worse. I mean, I don't know what it was. I'm not trying to set myself up now as some great politically correct person, obviously.
Don't worry, I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
I think you're safe.
I don't know whether it was the thought of my partner, of the Holy Roman Church, or, you know, of just the proximity to food. But I just didn't want... I really didn't want her to get... I wanted her to go. And it wasn't like there was an inner tussle with me. There was nothing. So anyway, the guy who was getting married, he was in the toilet. So someone said,
Don't like the sound of that.
Someone said, we got to hide her.
All right, hide her.
So the waitress then, and I thought, oh no, the waitress knows. She thinks we're all in on this together. The sophisticated
In a way, you are.
waitress. Well, I wasn't. She said, "Oh, you can go over here," and she took her into through this curtain.
Oh, she sounds nice.
Yeah, but the weird thing about it was the curtain, I realised, this is one of the lighter parts of it for me, the curtain was a curtain that was just flat against the wall. There was no door behind it. So this woman went in there, the police officer went in there, and it was just a bulging curtain. She was actually just...
Excellent.
It was like... She was standing against the wall and had been covered, just
playing hide and seek with a 3-year-old or something.
Making her even more noticeable.
Yeah, but it was the weirdest thing. This bulging curtain right next to us, like when Polonius hides behind the arras in Hamlet.
Yeah,
that's what I thought about at the time.
I was thinking like Boris Becker, but it doesn't matter. It's all very similar.
So what happened then?
Well, I was honestly having a mild panic attack, and it shocked me a bit. It makes me feel that perhaps my libido has said adios.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I remember thinking, what people we can't smoke in here, but we can do this. And then it became apparent that the other guys, I think it spread like a virus. Suddenly I realised there was quite a few people saying, and then someone said, I'll go and have a word with her, and they went behind the same curtain. And
what? Were they also flat against the wall?
3 hours.
They were
3
less
hours
flat.
they were behind the curtain.
They were less flat. They were holding back the curtain a bit. I mean, I could see the handcuffs from where I was.
So what did they say to her?
I think they just said that it was inappropriate. I mean, not just...
What, they cancelled her?
Yeah. They said it was inappropriate, not just for that event, but just as a life decision for her.
Why did they hire her?
Well, I think it might have been hired. She might have been hired by someone who didn't make it.
Oh.
Right.
As a sort of, a bit of a gag. But when we drove in this morning, I went past the local TA centre, and there was 2 armed policemen outside, and I thought, I don't know if I'll ever have the same respect for you. And they'd done nothing wrong. But
So did she just head home then?
So then she just went.
I hope you paid her.
Oh, well, someone paid her. I certainly didn't.
I don't think Frank would be footing
third
the bill.
autobiography title of yours?
Yes. But the whole thing was a bizarre experience.
Yes. I can't decide how I feel about it, Frank, because I don't know whether you should have sent her home, to be honest.
Well, what do you think we should have let her do it?
Leered at her for a bit.
No, I'm not suggesting, but then is that more humiliating that she's got all the clothes on, she's turned up, and then your services aren't required anyway?
Well, I mean, the alternative was not acceptable. We could have said, why don't you come and dine with us? But I mean, she had a policeman outfit.
Nobody can relax.
No, and you don't want to sit on fishnets for a long period of time. You get grid.
I certainly do.
You get thigh grid.
Yeah.
I hate thigh grid, although he's very good in Harry Potter.
Absolute Radio.
The best of Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
Frank?
Yes,
Are
darling.
we ready to talk about Buzz's party?
I don't normally call you darling, by the way.
I quite liked it. Because
yes.
I was there. And I should say, during the show last week, I mentioned it, but I didn't go full forensic.
Okay.
As I felt,
That you weren't on the stand. The witness was not on the stand.
I wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
Well,
because from my perspective, there were some extraordinary things going on.
Yes, my son, who's called Buzz, after Buzz Aldrin, who I believe is at Waterstones today in Piccadilly, doing a book signing.
What's happened to this show?
Exactly. I just mentioned, I don't get a retainer from Buzz Aldrin.
Well, I go through Time Out and read out what else is on in London.
Actually, I think I did get a retainer from Buzz Aldrin. One of his old bottlers I signed up. Working for me. Anyway, so my son was 4, and so I thought I'd have a birthday party for him. Now, the significance of this, particularly for me, is my first ever memory, as far as I can piece it together, was I remember sitting on the bed and saying to my mother, "I'm 4 today." It's a memory I can date quite accurately.
Yeah.
Unless
you were
of course,
just wrong when you were a kid, which also happens.
Unless I forgot the bit where she says, no, you're 14. I'll kill that typist. No, so I know, and I have a friend who knows about stuff like this, and he says children don't really remember anything until they're about 4. Right, nothing specific.
All right, Buzzkill.
Yeah, okay. So I thought, well, he'll remember this party, so I want to make it, I want to make it particularly special.
Oh, he'll certainly remember it.
Yes, well, I have to say, he loved it.
He did.
I found it one of the most stressful events of my entire life, including all my performing career on live television, enormous gigs, and this. Once seeing Catherine Jenkins approaching from the opposite side of the alley with a pitchfork.
Can I tell you, there was a moment when I realised you might be quite stressed, was when I overheard you saying to your manager's assistant, who said, "Can I get you anything?" And you said, "A bottle of brandy would be nice."
Yes. Of course, he knows better than to take me seriously on that, otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here now. But yeah, oh God. Although people's parties I've grown into as I've got older. But when you actually organise something yourself, you spend the whole thing just worrying about it. It wasn't until the first bin liner came out to clear up that I had a headache for the whole event, and it went when I realised that it was over.
You also got locked outside, and when we let you back in, you said, "Oh, well, it was better than being locked inside."
Yes. Yes, I was a little negative. Also, there was a woman cleaning up there, and I said, "Where do we put the bin liners?" And she said, "You must take them away. You!" I thought, yes, all right. See, the next sentence was going to be, "Because of the Nazis, find them here." But she was so aggressive and unkind to me.
Oh, dear.
But at that stage, and she's lucky I didn't just fall to my knees and sob like some sort of...
Fine. Well, Buzz had a lovely time, except he had Same-Dress Nightmare.
He did, yes.
There were 2 Supermans.
That's the trouble with superhero themes. Yeah. Same-Dress Nightmare is always a risk.
That's a hazard, though. That's, and life will deal him, the skills to cope with that, I think. It's a good early lesson.
No one went to Clark Kent and then became Superman later. But, they're 4.
Yeah.
The best of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I hired some entertainment for my child's party. I won't
Can we say it was age appropriate?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Last time you mentioned entertainment on this show.
I won't name them, because I'd like someone else to fall for it. They were...
I thought they were going to play you last time with the Brits.
I was a bit disappointed, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, that's a shame.
You were, weren't you? You made that quite obvious.
Yes, it was 2 people, a man and a woman. It's not relevant where they came from, but they had that sort of Bela Lugosi accent. Right. And they did I'm going to call them songs.
I was songs from the old country, I'd call them.
I was speaking to your friend John, and he was a witty fellow, and he was when they played Hakuna Matata, because I'd requested some.
I didn't hear that. I thought that was
you did hear it.
Which just didn't recognise it.
Which Buzz, to his credit, recognised it. But I'd asked for some. They said, do you want us, any requests? And I said, well, he loves The Lion King, so do that. And John said to me, it sounds like they've never actually... that someone's told them about Hakuna Matata rather than they've actually heard it. He also said to me in a very actor way, they're saving themselves, these lot. They're saving themselves. And the reason he said that was that one of the first things the woman said to me was... we must start now. And I said, God, a woman hasn't said that to me in that accent for years. And I said, no, there's only 4 children here. She said, no, but we have a rehearsal with
And
Britain's
one of them
Got
was
Talent.
me without heels. Sorry, Frank.
So we have a rehearsal with Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I thought, well, obviously they're putting a second, but they're going to be amazing. I don't know how they got on. But, no, I mean, I don't know how on earth they got on. But, so they, how can I put it? They had a matinee feel to them.
Right.
They felt, yes.
Saving some energy for the late show.
And they also kindly offered to supply the goodie bags.
Right.
I would say they redefined the whole concept of the goodie bag. You know,
They were quite minimalist.
you know when you watch a cop drama and they have that bag that's things from the crime scene?
Oh, yeah.
It was like that.
A forensic bag or
Just with like a bit of fingernail and a sample of some blood from the clothing. It was like that.
Well, that's not true. There was a lovely 24-page photocopied booklet about how you could hire them.
Oh yeah, there was. Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Their brochure was in there.
A brochure.
Yeah.
But other than that, goodie was not the word, was he? Baddie. I think it was a baddie
bag.
Yeah.
There was a
Like a swag
bouncing,
bag.
a brown bouncing ball. I
There
didn't know you
was.
could buy brown bouncing balls.
How was
No.
it fun? How was it
What
fun?
worried me is they had 14 rabbits in the van. It was, but, you know, the kids didn't seem to notice, and that's the great thing about kids.
Frank,
And
you
that's
did
also, of
take
course,
it-
what children's entertainers so often rely on.
You did take it very seriously. At one point, you were wandering around so stressed, and you came over to me and went, "They're just not playing to their audience."
No.
I know, but Frank, it wasn't a corporate. I mean, they were 4-year-olds.
It was, it's one of the worst things that's ever happened to me. And if they're listening, thank you so much.
The best of Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
Can I begin with a tweet that we had recently? It wasn't this
Sure.
morning, a few days back. This is from, I can't actually understand the Twitter handle, but there you go. I think it's at Bamalula.
Okay. Is it based on... Is it based on that?
That was quite erotic. I like you doing that.
Ah.
Who says, talking about nominative determinism, which we were discussing last week.
Oh, yes. This is when... Does your name have an effect on your
Yes.
career choice?
Yes. Well, at Bamalua,
Yeah.
What about bamboo?
you didn't finish
You mean...
it.
Bamboo?
Yes.
What does he do, then? if his name had an effect on his career choice. He falls downstairs in a deep-sea diving outfit.
He sells bamboo furniture, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Says Frank equals honest direct speech.
He-
Skinner equals unpeels the facade to reveal the hidden truth.
Very good. Found it as my real name. Next.
We've also had an email, I think that is also about nominative determinism, because the title of the email is Names That Lead to Jobs.
Oh, I like it. I like that.
Yes.
Hello, Frank, Alan and the gorgeous Emily. Keen podcaster
I
here.
really like this one.
Yeah, thought so. Keen podcaster here. Watching TV this quiet Friday night when the weather came on the TV, presented by Sarah Blizzard. This reminded me of your
God.
podcast the other week, where names lead people into their jobs.
If only it had been Sahara Blizzard.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been fantastic.
That's the stuff dreams are made of, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's well spotted. What about Wincy Willis? It's a bit wincy today. People might say that sometimes if they're trying to say
that doesn't work at all.
if they have a problem with D's and C's in their pronunciation,
That's
like
a-
some people
Quincy,
do.
Doesn't
Quincy
work.
Willows would work, wouldn't it? Quince is a...
What are you talking
fruit.
about?
Well, hang on, don't have a go at him, Frank. What are you talking about? You just
Think
said
of a name
Wincy
for a
Willis.
gardener.
I was just trying to think off the top of my head, as it
Okay.
were, of another weather person.
The best of Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
I wouldn't mind doing another in our series, The Past,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
in
Yeah.
which I talk about the past and see if things are still continuing into the present.
As I pointed out last week, you are, in your own way, the voice of history, aren't you?
The voice of history. I was watching something the other day, and I saw a phenomenon, and I thought, oh, does that still happen? It wasn't very old footage, but I associate it with the past, and it was somebody doing that short but tense walk from the police van to the courthouse with
Yes.
the privacy blanket over their head.
Oh, do you know, I love a privacy blanket.
Is it? Does it still continue that?
I wonder if it's just pointless now in the world of the social media. I wonder if they're just going, this is coming out eventually.
Well, people tend to wear the hoodie now. I'd put a hoodie on
the hoodie,
if I was
yeah.
convicted of a crime.
Oh no, I'd rather have a privacy blanket than a hoodie at my age. I'd like to think it continues. It's very ad hoc, though. When you first see it, you think, they've just thought, we need to cover him up, and there just happened to be a blanket in there. Then when you saw it...
grey, Frank.
Yeah, when you saw it, it was black and white for the first 20 years. Imagine the amount of Brill cream it had on it, that one.
Oh, yeah.
Because those 50s murderers, they were copious with their hair products.
They went at it.
But they were
Brill
meticulous.
They were. But... I thought it looks as if it was just, we'll put that blanket over him. But then clearly that they kept a blanket specially for that purpose.
Was it in the back of the Mariah, which is a word you don't often hear used these days?
In the Black Mariah. And they would say, get the privacy blanket.
Mm. Yeah.
And there's even a way, you don't just put it over your head like when when you're under the bedspread and you sit up. Mm-hmm. You have to hold your hands slightly.
You get the grey prison blanket out?
Yeah, but you have to slightly hold your hands so it sort of looks like a hovering cloud. I suppose there was more dog excrement in those days, so you have to look where you were stepping. even in that, one of the most difficult moments of your life.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to step in dog excrement. It's that extra 1% to a tragedy. It can push a murderer over the edge. Maybe into a rash confession or something.
Exactly.
Similar. And I've really got... if there's any police people or court officials...
Or 1950s murderers.
Yeah, there might be one or
There could be a few baddies listen to this that might have the voice of experience.
There could be people who know what a privacy blanket looks like from the inside.
Yes.
I'd love to know
I don't know if we want to encourage them.
I mean, I would... If I ever get involved in a very heavy-duty crime, I'm going to insist on a beekeeper's hat. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Because it's tantalising. There's a hint of the features.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But I don't know if it's really come out in a photograph.
Yeah.
So you just think, nearly there.
I'd go Wedding Veil, I think. Wedding Veil for me.
I think
would you?
Yeah.
Just because you're a murderer, never lose an element of tease.
The best of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
The next question is, anyone texted who's been in a police van and heard... What about those people that bang on the side? I've always thought about those people. I can never side with the people that bang on the police. I know often the people in the police van have done wrong things, but often they haven't been actually they haven't been found guilty.
I'm still reeling from they've done wrong things.
But also, those people, I'm always reminded of the foolish villagers in Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
They turn on the beast. He's actually all right.
They turn on that beast like a sixpence, Frank.
Yeah, and all that stuff. And all that, get the beast. You think, think about what you're doing.
Yeah. At some point they should say, I don't want to be a foolish villager. That's what they should say.
He needed a big blanket, the beast. Well, you better get the king size out.
Yeah. Don't go there with that cushion cover.
I mean, you've got to cover the beast.
He'll need a lot of coverage.
Oh, I must cover the beast. I'll be back in an hour.
Absolute Radio.
The best of Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
Anyway, it was done with. So then we went on, we did stuff, and I did something I hadn't done since I was about 15. I rowed a boat gently down the stream.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
And,
how was it?
Tiring.
Well, it was... I realised I'd learnt nothing from all those years on the disco floor.
Oh, yeah.
Going up. So I'd learnt... I sort of thought that might have given me just a general sense of rhythm.
Yeah.
That's sort of a mini head start.
Not transferable skills.
I've always thought that it was the popularity of that song that led to our years of rowing domination in the Olympics.
No, I think it's something else.
Do you?
Yeah,
You think that's Rolex?
I think it was rowing. Yeah.
I think it was lack of available books to read or something.
No. Well, yeah, maybe. But maybe is there a pastime where people have to lean forward and then lean back again?
Yeah, but let's not talk about that now.
Okay. So I thought, well, you know, I know, I've got that, I know what you do. So the first thing I got on, and someone said to me, "Excuse me, you're facing the wrong way." And I've had that shouted at me before as well. And I said, "Am I?" I said, "Isn't it? It's pointy bit first, isn't it?"
You didn't say that.
Yeah. Another one of my catchphrases. We've got to stop. We've got to stop doing this now.
This is turning into absolute Phil.
It is. So I ended up. This is how I was told to sit in the middle of the boat.
Sorry, was this just a well-wisher or someone responsible for the boat hire?
Well, I was at a rather exclusive resort.
Yes, I think I've been there as well.
In Oxfordshire. And so the rowing lake adjoins the swimming pool and a place where people sit outside and drink, I'm guessing, Bacardi and Coke.
Right.
They had that look to them.
No one drinks that anymore, Frank.
You know the Bacardi adverts with the beautiful people? It was like that. And I arrived as if Jamie Vardy had arrived in a rowing boat. And they said... So I ended up... The pointy bit was behind me. So I was going backwards. Now, that's what this bloke... It sounded like he'd yachted, so he probably knew.
Yeah.
But the trouble is I couldn't see where I was going. Now, Bozu was sitting facing me. Remember, he's 4 years old. He kept leaning across to try and see past me to see if there's any bikes coming up. Every time he leaned, the whole boat... I was wearing a life jacket, and so was he. I wore a life jacket. I mean, this thing was next to the swimming pool and bar area, and I had a life jacket.
And it is about 2 feet deep, that lake.
I was so frightened. It was a bit deeper than that, maybe 4 feet. But I was terrified. So, and the other thing, I've always had this thing, and maybe if there's any of our readers might know this, what's always worried me about a life jacket is, what about if, when it takes its flotation moment, if you're facing downwards...
Yeah.
Will it then keep you facing downwards?
No, it tips you onto your back.
Are you absolutely sure?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't prepared to risk that.
No, you don't want to test it.
No, but, so I ended up going backwards. The pointy bit behind me, I couldn't see where I was going. And I had a series of incidents.
Uh-oh.
We'll come to that.
The best of Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
So anyway,
Chris
look...
Davis is on the Twitter, is very impressed, saying, "I love that Frank knows all the nautical terms, the pointy end."
Yes, but is there any more? Well, perhaps Chris Davis was that?
Correct.
Chris Davis could maybe tell me if that's correct, that when you row, the pointy end is behind you and you go backwards. Is that how you're supposed to row?
Oh.
Yeah.
Because it has... Why are there no wing mirrors on a rowing boat?
Good
Well, that's a good point.
Because that's exactly what I was desperate for, a wing mirror.
I'll just use your compact, that's what I do.
Couldn't you just check your blind
I didn't
spot?
have my compact. I don't powder anymore. It gets on my collar. Especially if you've got a coat with a fur attachment.
Couldn't you just do an over-the-shoulder glance, like a motorcycle?
I was too frightened to do that. I thought if I did that the whole day, I'll be trapped underneath it. Remember that bloke that was trapped at sea for about 3 days underneath his boat? I thought about that.
You were in a lake in a private members bar.
I know.
That you could have waded out of.
I don't know if I'd have got help. There's a bit where I got stuck next... I literally got stuck next to the outside swimming pool.
Oh, that's not embarrassing. Who was in there? Melvin Bragg doing that?
No.
I mean, how embarrassing.
It had 6 people in, 3 men, 3 women. There were 6 of the most beautiful people I've ever seen in my life. And it was...
Worst places to be stuck.
But what is it about...
How humiliating.
What is it about the posh that even if they're just in their swimming costumes, you recognise them as being posh before they've spoken? There's just something about the way they stand and their look very long-necked.
And
very long-necked, yeah.
And their swimming costumes are made of that red corduroy that poor people can't buy somehow. You know?
Well, I didn't. But I was literally. I'd got myself trapped against the swimming pool outer edge.
I can't bear this. It's like Mellors the gamekeeper.
And I couldn't work it out with our life jackets on, and these people go. And they got no help from them. They were literally too posh to push. Yeah. So I was stuck there for probably about 4 minutes, and it just looked... I felt like I was some bloke who'd just come in to have a closer look at these women in their scanties. But it was... I had to use the oar to push push myself away, and I couldn't get very good purchase.
Do you think they thought that maybe you just come awry and you'd been on a canal in Birmingham and you just ended up there somehow?
Maybe they did think. If they've heard of Birmingham, they might have thought of that, or they might have thought it was Skinner's about. Finally, Jeremy Beadle had been replaced. But oh dear, it was so difficult. But I genuinely would like to know if I was facing the right way.
Okay.
So that when I finally got back to the sort of landing area, I couldn't work out how I could reach across and actually tie it to the, moor it, as they say. It was very moorish.
Yeah.
I thought if I move across there, the whole thing's going to tip up. And obviously Boz couldn't help. So I called across. There was a guy having a sort of a cocktail.
Turned out to be Alan Yenton.
And I said, excuse me. And he said, yeah. I said, could you tie that... I'm sorry, but could you tie that rope?
You didn't?
Yeah, and he was okay about it. And I said, could you help my child to get out as well? He's only 4. So he took his hand and got him out. And then he looked at me and he said, do you want me to help you out as well?
Yeah.
And I said, yes, I do. So he actually took my hand. I got up in my life jacket.
That's weird.
And climbed on.
You had a humiliating climb down whilst climbing up.
Yeah, exactly. But if that man is listening, thank you so much.
I like that you had the life jacket on.
I know.
I mean, Frank.
The anguish of it.
The best of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I like to scroll through the emails of Absolute, and if any come in on Friday night for
I
this
think you
show,
should have a TV show called Friday Night Troll.
Oh, God, I can't imagine the content of that, but yeah, all right, fine.
I think you should have an FNT jingle.
Make it happen, guys, make it
Exactly,
happen.
We should do that.
Which would you like?
Alan Cochrane's FNT.
I found a couple that I'm interested in relaying you. Would you prefer puns first or road, the boat?
Road, that might be about me rowing.
Oh, it's all about you.
No,
right.
Okay.
No, let's do it.
I'd like to... No one answered. I was on a boat with the pointy end... a rowing boat. The pointy end behind me, which is what I'd been told by a man on the side. And I couldn't see where I was going, which is a dilemma. So I was trying to find out a couple of weeks ago, was it? Or maybe last week?
Yes, it may have been last week, yeah.
Whether I was the right way around. Maybe this answers the question.
I think you were. No, it doesn't. Hello, Frank, Emily and Alan. Frank,
hello.
I was listening to the podcast story about you being rescued in a boat at that exclusive resort in Oxfordshire.
Yes.
And as I was listening to the tale, I instantly recognised that it was familiar to me, and I knew the end of the story already. The reason for this was that my son Michael had relayed the very same tale to me days before you did. He was the man you mentioned who assisted you that day.
Shut up.
And I played him this podcast, so just to let you know, he did get your thanks via his mother. So there you go.
Oh,
wow.
Michael.
Nice, isn't it?
Thank you, Michael. You rowed the boat ashore. Hallelujah.
Yes.
All together now. Michael rowed the boat ashore. Come on, sing it. Hallelujah. Let me hear you. Michael rowed the boat. Absolute Radio, where real music matters.
What are you singing next? A glimpse of stalking. Oh, I love the sound of Mikey. Yes, I'm calling him Mikey already.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't answered the question what end is meant to go forward.
Well, the pointy must go forward because it's obviously made to cut through the water. Like, like the pointy bit of a knife goes through, let's say, a mature cheese.
Yeah.
But whether you're supposed to face... I must admit, the whole pulling notion
pulling backwards
does seem it does seem to be that but not knowing where you're going, no wing mirrors.
Wing mirrors are the answer, I think.
Oh, I don't like
Wouldn't it be great if people have been rowing for all that time and then you come along and have one crack at it and add something like wing mirrors
and revolutionise rowing?
Oh, it'd be like suitcase wheels and honestly.
You might get an honour from the Queen, Frank. Lovely.
I've never seen wing mirrors on a rowing boat.
No, me neither.
I've seen a diamond ring. I've seen a ring. I've seen a needle winky tie.
We're going to run through everything you have seen.
About everything.
When I see wing mirrors and a rainbow.
Is that okay? Yeah.
Real music, what does it do?
Matter.
Thank you.
Is that our slogan?
Yeah.
Yes, did you not know that's the Absolute Radio slogan?
Oh, we're all over that.
Of course I did.
Yeah.
Real music matters.
That's a lovely slogan.
Yeah.
Well done, Boffins.
It used to
Absolute.
be, when we started, the Absolute slogan was Pernod cures hangovers. And somebody said it was too laddish.
I thought it was, why can't you play some Nickelback?
Oh, yeah. It was that. I don't know if it was a slogan, it was certainly a regular text on this
The
show.
weekly texting. Yeah.
Oh. And then you get like the odd more sophisticated just saying, songs Nickelback, question mark.
Absolute Radio.
The best of Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.